We're just wrapping up at Marvel Cabinets. We have all of our paper on the wall from doing our value stream mapping this week. And behind Jesse there, we have a Kanban board, which you guys have seen in many meetings already. And that shows us the status of our current jobs. That's the prototype. But down here, we have all of our big priorities that we worked on this week. So just a quick question for you guys. Gareth, you manage the hidden factory right now, and that's obviously what we're digging into. Jesse, you own the show. How do you think this went this week as far as solutions and capacity, opening up capacity and with your team?
You walk into something like this having some expectations, and I think that you walk in with one expectation, and I think that, for me, in knowing that we had some growth to do, I think I was a little bit kind of pleasantly surprised but disappointed at the same time that we hadn't done something like this sooner. You don't know what you don't know, and when you start to drill down and actually put a proper process in place, but even more importantly, have somebody from the outside come in that's trained in it and put an expectation of a baseline that we have to meet and then expand on that and have the team provide input, I think is super important, that whole collaboration, because I think between all of us, just sitting in here for the last 2 years, 5 years, 6 months, whatever timeline we want to put on it, everybody's got a great idea, but we're just running around in circles, never really improving. And so to have somebody come in and just really sort that out for us, I think was very impactful, more so than I would have given it credit for kind of going into it.
So it exceeded your expectations.
Yeah.
Gareth, what are we going to do now to understand whether or not we're making impact from starting next week? What's going to change?
We're going to start measuring everything. So
yes.
Measure everything in the hidden factory, measure everything on the shop floor, and start to get some metrics, something that we can review on the dashboard, and actually give us some idea of where we're going and what improvements we need. And when we do make the improvements, we can actually see, with the metrics what those improvements have done to the throughput
what
dollars.
The impact was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something to aim at and something to measure.
So now you can say, we put in this new process for handling our new gate review system. You should be able to see your throughput going up. And then the same with your new service plan, you have that as well. But measuring first gives you the baseline. You can see here's where we are, whether you like what you see or not, doesn't matter. We just want to see, are you making progress? Is it having an effect on your throughput dollars? Because ultimately that's what counts. Your throughput dollars and your quality, which affect morale. And then your lead times get better, and then the shop has more time to get a kitchen through. You guys have more time to prepare. You guys are not going to know what to do with all your free time.
I think the multiplier of what it costs to have you in versus what we're going to save in just defects and increases in output, I think is going to be an interesting one to cover here in a few months.
A safe, conservative estimate, not even the consulting side. If you just measure at the level I want you to with the Kaizenify dashboard, you easily can get an hour back at your bottleneck a day. And if your bottleneck's $1,000 an hour, that's $20,000 a month. Yours is more.
Yeah.
Because we already figured yours out, right?
Yep.
And then we already used it to see the defect in the paint shop and see how that affected your throughput dollars today. It was pretty amazing.
It was.
Yep.
To see that. So it's just getting the systems in. And then that foundation, the systems, the processes all tightened up, and then scale. Tell me, how do you think that this Kanban board is going to solve your issues? Do you think that it's actually going to help you guys in the hidden factory?
Oh yeah, for sure. One of the biggest problems is not knowing what everyone has on their plate. At a glance now, when we have our morning meetings, the design team and myself will be able to go through this, but we'll be able to see what every person has on their plate. We'll be able to see at a glance if there's some low-hanging fruit, that things that we can that can be very quickly capture the information we need to move it off to the next cell. And move it along and keep pulling everything.
Yeah, the goal here is for flow, right? Because just like a factory, the hidden factory has a bottleneck. Your bottleneck is obviously engineering, and you want to make sure things are flowing to and through engineering into your buffer at the end there. That last column is your buffer. We want like a week's worth of work in front of your shop, and that's what our goal is this time. So you guys just developed this prototype. You're going to get a whiteboard, you're going to get magnets and all that stuff. But this is just our development for our prototype, our first kick at it, but we think we've got a really good solution here. Very visual solution, obviously. really helps us understand where the workload is, where the capacity is, and where things are getting hung up, where jobs are getting hung up.
Yeah.
And then we took your service. Ended up being a big problem we wanted to solve. You can tell by the number of stickies on there and the number of brainstorming ideas people came up with. We got a solid process in place to handle service now. You guys have your goals. You have someone who owns that project so that they can take it through to delivery. And then the other one was customer management, and their gate review system was a solution to that, right? We're saying job can't blow past gate 1.
Correct.
If all of the things
Checklist items
have not been checked off,
Yeah.
and you have a system already that you can put that in. So you've already updated your system.
Yeah.
Builder Trend, I think, is what you're using.
It is, yes.
And you're making sure that you have like 9 gates you have defined there. You can't blow past gate 5. So things aren't going to get hung up down here because you don't have the answers, because you have this gating system. So the two big solutions your team came up with were visual Kanban board and gating system for customer management and job management, and then communication with the customer as well, and then service. You guys have that new service process flow.
Correct.
You want to focus on your service, so you're reducing your quality issues,
Correct.
which is going to increase the capacity in your hidden factory, reducing the interruptions in engineering, which is going to increase the capacity at your bottleneck in your hidden factory, providing more clarity and better instructions for the guys on the shop floor. And we're going to get that quality tool rolled out on the shop floor so we can see, we can quantify how much they're suffering from issues that might be caused from not enough information, incorrect information, maybe unclear information.
Yep, some of the details are incorrect, and the guys, giving the guys the opportunity to bring that to our attention. Sometimes what we find is the guys will just fix mistakes in the hidden factory and won't tell anyone.
Yeah.
So it's just their goal is just to get it out the door, so they'll just fix it. Now with the reporting system, even if they don't come up and tell us, at a glance we'll be able to look at the overview chart and be able to see what the defects are, and then that allows the engineers and those in the hidden factory to identify what those problems are and work out a solution for them.
That buffer in front of the shop is super important, because right now, today, your hidden factory is not able to feed the shop at the rate that it can run. I mean, so right now the hidden factory is the bottleneck, which is why we're doing the value stream mapping this week. Do you think that we solved the hidden factory being the bottleneck and robbing the shop of lead time? Do you think with the solutions that we came up that's going to solve those issues?
Oh yes, I think it will. Like, you can really see when you map it out like this that the bottleneck is our engineering as it gets there, and this is all blank. Like, we don't have enough in here.
Yeah.
So we know that we need to pull a bunch of this stuff to get in here, and doing the gate system. Like, I know just looking at this that there are a bunch of things in here that have kind of got through a gate without the correct information. Right. We might need to revisit a bunch of these stuff with the new system that we're going to implement, and then that will allow the designers and the salespeople that are involved at the front end to be able to go through that checklist, make sure everything's checked off correctly, and hopefully start to move this product a little bit faster through.
Okay, so we're down here literally down here in the finishing area at Marvel Cabinets, and we're just rolling out the new quality tool because this is the bottleneck of the custom kitchen cabinet company. Of course, that's usually the bottleneck is in finishing. What's happening right now is we're rolling this out because we want to make sure we capture the defects, anything that's slowing these guys down, anything that they have to rework, which is what they're doing right now. So it's perfect. We want to capture this data because we want to know if we're losing a half an hour, 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours a day at the control point. That's thousands of dollars a day. Like I said in many videos before, $1,000 an hour is a pretty conservative estimate for throughput in a custom cabinet shop. So if we're losing an hour a day, that's $20,000 a month. So right now, we're just teaching these guys how to report the defect.
So this is Kaizenify, and they're going to use this code.
What we've done is we've set up a line for them called finishing. We've set up the defects that they would see in the finishing area, the common defects. We don't want them to have to go through this big, huge list. They just punch in the defect, they select the defect, they tell us if they had any downtime, and then we go ahead and we do the math and behind the scenes, and we calculate the cost of that actual defect, and then we calculate the cost of the downtime And then this is just drawing focus and awareness to this is the amount of money we're losing every single day at the bottleneck, so that we can focus people on fixing these issues, reducing the downtime, reducing the defects, staying on top of that at all times, because this is what, you know, I call it the patient on the table. We have a bleeding patient on the table. We want to stabilize that patient, and we do that by getting our quality under control and by getting our downtime under control. And it's easily quantified by understanding what your throughput dollars per day are, dividing that by the number of minutes in a day, and now we have your throughput dollars per minute. Identify does that for you. All you have to do is use the dashboard, and then we put the dollar value to all of your defects.